Hello, everyone. It's great to see you. I hope you've been enjoying a fantastic March Mystery Madness so far. Let me know you're here by saying hi in the comment section. And for those of you who are watching this on a replay later, it's good to see you too. And I hope you take this opportunity to do some reading sprints, even though you're doing them on your own. So we are 12 days into March Mystery Madness, and it has been a fantastic month so far. Hi, Carolyn. It's nice to see you here. Oh, hello, Marlena Joe. That's my mother-in-law. Sweet. Hello, Green Stick. So, we are 12 days into March Mystery Madness, and I have been reading like the wind. I have read a lot so far and some really, really great stuff. So, why don't you let me know in the comments what you're reading for March Mystery Madness and what you plan to read for our reading sprints this afternoon. I hope you are having a great afternoon. Of course, if you're in England, potentially Europe, it's going to be the evening. So welcome to those of you who are here from across the pond, as it were. Hello, Scott. Nice to see you here. I have been reading a bit for Scott and Becky have been doing another 24-hour readathon, and I've been doing some reading for that. I finally finished Joe Country by Mick Herron, and so that was really fun. I was doing that for the 24-hour readathon. James, nice to see you. Oops, there he is. Hello, James. And Julianne, hello, yay. I thought there was going to be people here from the UK. Nice to see you. Helen, yay. Hi, Helen. I'm glad to see you here. And Michelle is here. Hello, Michelle. And Donna, hi, Donna. Today has been the day of sprints and live shows. It is crazy. So Tiffany from the Beach Bum Bookworm has already done some reading sprints this afternoon. Later this afternoon, we have a live show with Scott and Becky for their 24-hour readathon. And then later this evening, there is a live show for the weekend with Agatha. Hey, Jackie, nice to see you. So this is one thing that's very exciting about doing the live this weekend is that this weekend is the weekend with Agatha, which is a fantastic 2-day readathon. I was so excited when I heard about it. It's being hosted by Chantel from Chantel Reads All Day and Angie Henderson. And it's just the 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, and it's just about reading Agatha Christie. And then tonight at 7:30 Central, so I'm not sure so that must be 8:30 Eastern, is they're doing a live show for the readathon. So I'm super excited about that. Oh, great. You're letting me know what you're reading for the sprints. Green Stick is going to be reading Death Metal by Nova Nelson, a paranormal cozy mystery. That's cool. That's awesome. Carolyn. Well, what are you reading right now? Maybe it's just as good. Although, let's be honest, Agatha Christie is always awesome. Helen is reading with Agatha. Yeah, it does sound good. I am reading Crooked House, which is the next up in my read through project. And this is an Agatha Christie that I actually don't know anything about. So I'm super excited. I haven't read this one before and I don't know anything about it. I think because it's a standalone, and so I have never seen an adaptation of it. Does anybody know? Is there an adaptation? Well, there is an adaptation now, but I've been holding off on watching it because I wanted to read the book first. That's so rare to have that opportunity because there's so many adaptations out there for Agatha Christie's books. So I'm super excited to read one that I really don't know anything about at all. Carolyn is going to be listening to Something Rotten by Jasper Fforde. Oh, I love the Thursday Next series. That's so good. Jackie's going to be reading Double Sin by Agatha Christie. Sweet. Are you reading the short story collection, Jackie, or just the short story Double Sin? Because that's awesome. James is going to start Death of the Living Dead by Yamaguchi Messiah. It might be about zombies. This book has been recommended to me by so many people, and Crooked House is my favorite Christie. Interesting, James. I'm very excited. I've had my kind of like top 5 list of Agatha Christie has been fairly set for a while. So I'm really excited about the possibility of having that top 5 knocked about a bit. So hopefully, you never know. Hopefully Crooked House might just do it. Carolyn. Oh, Carolyn, you've read it too. Awesome. Helen is going to finish The Perfect Girlfriend by Karen Hamilton. I don't know that one. It's crazy, but very good. That's awesome. Breezy Ann. Hello, Breezy Ann. Nice to see you. She's on her lunch break, planning to read a bit of Mrs. McGinty's Dead by Agatha Christie. Perfect. That's a good one. I like Mrs. McGinty's Dead. That's a Poirot. Donna says that she will still be reading Forgotten in Death by J.D. Robb. I'm behind in that series. I thought that I had read all of them, but she just keeps going. That's such a long series. It's overdue at the library. I understand that, Donna. Crooked House is brilliant. Julianne, is it? Okay, maybe I'm the only person in the world who hasn't read Crooked House yet. Michelle says, While Justice Sleeps by Stacey Abrams, trying to get to 100 pages read. Perfect. Maria, yay, nice to see you here. Oh, you read Crooked House? Excellent. Oh, are you saying I should read it first instead of watching the show? Yeah, regardless, that's awesome. My mother-in-law is reading The Body in the Library. She came up earlier and asked for a Marple, so that's the one that I suggested for her. I love The Body in the Library. It's a great Marple. Carolyn says, I inspired you to get back into the Thursday Next series after my video yesterday. That's awesome. I love the Thursday Next series. It's weird and wonderful. The idea of literary detectives in an alternate dystopian 80s England is awesome. Hearts and Whodunits, welcome here. You are reading Here Comes the Fudge by Nancy Coco. That sounds awesome. Jackie, you're reading the whole collection. That's great. Oh, yeah. And when you've had a few big books, it's really nice to dip in and out of a short story collection. That's really nice. Julianne, Destination Unknown by Agatha Christie. Nice. I'm loving all the Agatha Christie reads this afternoon. That is also one that I have not yet read. I think that one is kind of one of her like spy espionage thriller ones. Let me know, Julie, if I'm right there. Cornflower, hi, first time here to your channel. Welcome, Cornflower. It's nice to have you. My parents and Bob, subscribers of yours, have told me they really love your YouTube channel. Oh, thank you. That's really nice. Carolyn, 53 books. Yeah, the J.D. Robb series is massive. She is very prolific because, of course, J.D. Robb is another name for Nora Roberts, and like that woman just never stops. She is so prolific. Scott says, ooh, Angel of Terror by Edgar Wallace. I read the synopsis of that one for one of my previous videos. Oh, the vintage publication doubles video. And the synopsis of that one sounded really good. Helen, yeah. Helen loves The Body in the Library. Excellent. Carolyn, the Thursday Next series. You reread the first 3 and then you're starting with the 4th one. Yeah, that's great. Casey, hi. Oh, hi from Victoria. Ooh, another Canadian. Welcome here. I'm from Saskatchewan, Casey. It's nice to see you. And you just finished Mr. and Mrs. North Meet Murder. I have that book on my shelf and I have not read it yet. Casey, let me know what you thought of that book. That's a series of books that were written in the United States in the 40s. I think it's the 40s, isn't it, Casey? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that book. Okay, so we're going to do some reading sprints, and I thought that we should do like 20-minute reading sprints. What do you guys think? Is 20 minutes good? Because if so, let's start at quarter after. Breezy-Ann, you've wanted to try the Mr. and Mrs. North series too. Yeah. Oh, hi, Storm. Nice to see you here. You've had a busy day with reading sprints already, haven't you? Casey, very police procedural. Okay, good to know. Good to know. 20 sounds good. 20 is good. Okay. Liz, hi, Liz. Nice to have you here. Ooh, The Long Call by Anne Cleeves. That's the start of a new series of hers, isn't it? I have not read them yet. I actually haven't read anything by Anne Cleeves, which is something that I'm going to need to rectify because I love the shows, Vera and Shetland. I love those. So I can't see why I wouldn't like her books. I just haven't gotten to them yet. Julianne, the In Death and the Thursday Next series are some of my favorites. Excellent. Storm. Good. I'm glad you're getting in some good reading. Oh, good, Liz, and it's very good. That's great. Carolyn, anyone having snacks? Ooh, soda and cookies. That's awesome. I just had my lunch, so no snacks for me. I do have some water here though. Liz, oh, it's set in North Devon. Ooh, that's great. All right, so 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, we'll start our first, I'm blanking out here, our first reading sprint. All right, Helen. Oh, you haven't read Anne Cleeves yet either. I have one on my shelf too. I found it at a book sale or something. I think it's called Red Bones. I think it's one of the Shetland books, but I'm not entirely sure. Hearts and Whodunits. Ooh, hot chocolate. Yummy. It's been snowing today, so that's perfect. Casey, you found the Mr. and Mrs. North books because of, the other day in one of my videos. Oh, yes, I did talk about one of their books. I have a few of them on my shelves. I just haven't read any of them yet. You know, so many books, so little time. Carolyn, this is a good question. Is Anne Cleeves gritty? I've wanted to try her books, but I'm more comfortable with cozy when it comes to books. That's a good question. Because I'm not entirely sure. The shows aren't bad, but they can be like a little bit dark. So that is a good question about the books. So if anyone knows, let me know. That would be great. Julianne, oh, you're reading Red Bones right now. That's very funny. All right, so I'm really excited to get into Crooked House. I've just read a few pages. It's a standalone Agatha Christie first person narration, so that's really interesting. Sophia, hi. Libraries and Labradors, hi. Just popping in to say hello, about to go on a hike actually. So weird when you say it's snowing where you are. Yeah, hiking would not work right now. We have so much snow. It is insane. We have had so much snow this winter and it just keeps snowing, which is so weird because by this point in March, like it really should start, melting. Although the weather is finally warming up. We had an extreme wind chill warning yesterday. It felt like minus 45. And for those of you who are on Fahrenheit, minus 40 Celsius is minus 40 Fahrenheit. So it gives you an idea, but it only lasted the one day. And then now today it's currently 1 degree Celsius. So we had a really crazy, fast adjustment of temperature, but that's okay. It's supposed to be, minus 5 plus 1 plus 2 for the next few days. So that's all right. So we are going to start a sprint here very soon. Yeah. So let's read for 20 minutes. Carolyn says it's snowing here too, but just lightly because of the storm. Yeah. Marlena Joe, yeah, 10 feet of snow. You're totally right. Okay, so let's start a reading sprint and we will read until 2:35 or, whatever it is for you. So enjoy your reading. Welcome back, everybody. Let me switch these banners. All right. So, how did your reading go? I got a few chapters read, about 20 pages. I'm in chapter 3. So we're just getting started. But one thing I'm loving right now, right off the hop, is you get the murder right away. So sometimes you get this huge buildup to where you're meeting all of the characters and you're getting the motives, and then you get the murder, quite late in the book, really. But this one, by chapter 2, we have the murder, and so I love that so far. All right, let's catch up with some of these comments. Helen has said, "Ooh, it's a very spring-like day in the UK. Nice." Liz says, "Okay, so this is Anne Cleves. It's not cozy, but it's not gritty. Okay, that's good. Scenic. Nice." Tiffany, hello, Tiffany. Nice to have you here. She's reading Shoes to Die For, the 4th book in the Jane Austen Cozy Mystery series by Laura Levine. I've never read that series. Sophia, yeah. Hello, Elizabeth. She's going to pop in and out, but she's running to the store. She's got to bake some, the church youth cake auction. I remember stuff like that. She's got one more chapter in Murder in Old Bombay to read today to get back on track. Very good. I'm loving that one too. Donna's going to be in and out. Annika, nice to see you here. Oh, that's excellent. You're going to put the kettle on and then get your book to join us. You're just in time to have a quick chat, and then you can join us for our next reading sprint. So that's great. I'm glad you're here, Annika. Cozy, nice to see you. Ooh, fancy settings. Well, thank you. The countdown is one that I just discovered. It's one that they made as a, just a freebie or whatever, but I thought it was very helpful for reading sprints. Oh yes, that's good. The countdown is nice because you don't scare anyone talking out of nowhere. That's happened to me before too. Like, you're totally into your book and then all of a sudden someone starts talking. It is a bit scary. Hearts and Whodunits, you finished a chapter. That's excellent. Helen, she read a chapter but also multitasking. Perfect. Jackie, ooh, you finished Double Sin and she's on to Wasp's Nest. I don't know if I can remember Double Sin, but I remember the Wasp's Nest story. I'm not sure why you remember the things that you do, but Carolyn got 17 and a half minutes into the audio. That's good. Carolyn, when you're listening to audio, do you listen to them at regular speed or do you speed it up a bit? I'm curious. I don't listen to a lot of audio, but I find that I have to speed it up at least a little bit. It's too slow for me. Sophia, didn't read too much, had to put your little monster to bed. Oh, that's cute. You're enjoying your book, Poppy Harmon Investigates by Lee Hollis. That sounds familiar to me. I don't think I've read it, but it sounds familiar. Scott, Angel of Terror is really good. I'm glad you brought it to my attention. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think I'm going to get it off of Project Gutenberg and give it a try. I don't think I've read anything by Edgar Wallace before. Carolyn, Ford makes a joke about Granny Next not being able to die until she has read the 10 most boring classics, but I want a definitive list. Oh, yes. So that's a very funny ongoing joke throughout the series. And discovering what the 10 most boring classics are is pretty funny. Yeah. Annika. Annie, hi, nice to see you. Just got here and reading to Helvetica and Back by Paige Shelton. That's great. I've been hearing about that book a lot. Is that a read-along book or something? There's a lot of people that seem to be reading that book. Cozy, your sweet spot for audiobooks is 1.5 to 1.8 times speed, depending on the narrator. I think the platforms that I use to listen don't give me that level of choice. I think that's great. Like I actually tend to have to choose between 1.5 to 1.7. But it would certainly be nice to have more options. Carolyn listens at normal speed unless the narrator is particularly slow. That's true, actually. The narrator has a lot to do with the choice of speeds. Julianne is 12% into Destination Unknown. It's intriguing. That's excellent. Oh, very good. Yeah, I'm intrigued so far in Crooked House. So we are introduced to this family, the Leonides family. Of course, you've got the rich old man, Aristides. Pardon me. And a bunch of his family live in his crooked house. And unsurprisingly, right, it's the rich old man who gets killed. And so because the murder happens right off the top, we haven't really got down to meeting a bunch of the suspects yet or know anything about the motive. So I think it's great. This is a one that's told in a first person narration by Charles, whose father is the commissioner of Scotland, assistant commissioner of Scotland Yard. So what's great is that we're kind of following the mystery along with him. So we have all the information that he has as he's diving into this mystery. He's in love with Sophia, who is a granddaughter of the old man. So I like that. I like that with Agatha Christie. I've noticed this, like she rarely does anything similar, the same thing twice, and her setups and the way she tells the stories are always different. So with this one, with this first person perspective, we're just diving straight in and getting the story, as our investigator gets the story. So yeah, I think that's really cool. Scott, you have the complete Edgar Wallace from Kindle, and it's a ton of works. I'm not surprised. Like, it seems to me that people from the golden age quite often were really prolific. Cozy, it's your Killing Time with Cozy series read along, discussing to Helvetica and back next Saturday. Okay, perfect. That's great. Marlena Joe says, love this sentence. If one has got to have a murder actually happening in one's house, one might as well enjoy it. That's awesome. So that's a quote from The Body in the Library, and that's Dolly Bantry, isn't it? I love Dolly Bantry. She is hilarious, and the way that she reacts to finding a body in her library is very funny. Annika, I finished Parker Pine Investigates today, and I think I will finish a Tess Gerritsen tonight or start with a story in Murder Most Foul. That's great. So let me know, Annika, what did you think of those Parker Pine stories? That's a short story collection, and Parker Pine, he's an interesting main character for a short story collection. He's a retired civil servant, and his ad in the newspaper says, "Are you happy? If not, consult Parker Pine." Fascinating. And which Tess Gerritsen are you reading, Annika? Julianne, the audiobook of H. Casey, do you have an Instagram account? For future reference, I am more comfortable chatting privately. All right, that is fair enough. I do have an Instagram, and I can't remember right now. I think it's just my name. Could be too fond of books. I don't know. I will, how about this, Casey? In the next reading sprint, I will send you a message in the private chat here. Helen. Yes, Marlena Joe, I love that sentence too. Yeah, The Body in the Library. Brilliant. Julianne, audiobook of Murder in Old Bombay is really good. Yeah, I'm doing an audiobook of that one too, and the narrator is fantastic. James, the opening of Death of the Living Dead has an irresistible hook. A detective is standing over a dead body when the body suddenly rises and points the finger at the woman who killed him. That's awesome. That's great, James. Donna, I read to Helvetica and back 2 years ago. Hope to read the other 2 books in the series sometime soon. Carolyn, Janelle, I'm so jealous that you get to read Crooked House for the first time. I made the mistake of watching the adaptation with my mom first, and it is brilliant, and I still loved the book. All right. Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing the adaptation after I finish the book. Carolyn, but I wish I had the surprise of the whodunit from the book first. Yeah, I get that. Romance Queen of BookTube, reading Magic Library Called Spells and Shelves by Ellie Adams. Ooh, interesting. Nice to see you. It's on Kindle Unlimited. That's great. Lee, hi, Lee. Nice to see you here. Scott's got to get going. He's going to see us all very soon because he has, in an hour and 15 minutes, he has his own live show for the 24-hour readathon. Scott, I'm glad that you were here with us for a bit. Definitely. Okay, so what do you guys think? In 5 minutes, we'll do another 20-minute reading sprint. Does that sound good to everybody? Yeah, I'm excited about delving more into my Crooked House. Yeah, it's a good setup. I like it. Cozy. Yeah, all the lives today. Yeah, it's fantastic. If you join a bunch of them, you can end up getting a lot of reading done. That's for sure. All right, so we have a few more minutes. What's the best book you've read so far this month for March Mystery Madness? Annika, I had really mixed feelings about the Parker Pine book. In the beginning, he seemed a cold character, and although the stories were great, they were also unethical, but it grew on me, and in the end, I loved it. That's interesting, Annika. I didn't think that he was cold, but he's definitely an analytical guy, and so that can come across as cold, definitely. And yeah, some of the things that he does to kind of ensure people's happiness is a bit unethical, but yeah, it's an interesting collection of stories for sure. Cozy is reading Murder on the Rocks by Kara McInerney. Oops. Liz. Ooh, you put Crooked House on hold at the library. Sweet. Sophia, it's great, isn't it? Cozy, I'm going to be up all night. Lee says Anne Cleeve's latest with her newest detective. That's great. That's the new series. And I don't know if that series has a name or not. It's just with the new detective. I've heard of that series. I haven't read it yet. Hearts and Whodunits, Better Late Than Never by Jen McKinley. So this is great. So these are so far this one. Yeah, that's great. I have read, Jen McKinley has a library series. I forget what it's called. I've read a bunch of books in that series. I really enjoy that series by her. Donna's, the mysteries I've read this month: Mrs. Morris and the Ghost, Salem B&B #1 by Tracy Wilton, and 2 ebooks from the Herringford and Watts Mysteries by Rachel McMillan to complete the series. That's great. Cozy, A Spell for Trouble by Esme Addison, Mermaid and Water Witch Polish lore. Was not expecting to like it as much as I did. That's awesome. I love it when that happens. James, The Red Death Murders by Jim Noy is fantastic. A murder mystery set in the world of Poe's Mask of the Red Death, A Nice Impossible Murder. Ooh, that sounds intriguing, James. I'll have to check that one out. Helen says, best book so far for March Mystery Madness is Death of a Gossip by MC Beaton. I loved it. Surprisingly funny. Oh, yeah. I love the Hamish Macbeth. And the ones from the 90s, you know, the early Hamish Macbeths can be a bit dated or whatever, but like, I just love Hamish Macbeth, and I agree, Helen. I find them quite humorous. I love all the side characters in that series. Liz, who writes the Parker Pine stories? That's Agatha Christie. Parker Pine is one of her detectives that maybe not everybody knows about. Carolyn, he is Agatha Christie to Liz. Yeah. Annie O'Brien, my favorite one so far was Crop, Cut, and Die from the Kiki Lowenstein series by Joanna Campbell Slan. Oh, very good. Inking Your Thinking, he seemed warmer through the book. I had to get all the nuanced words out of my previous comments because I reached the max tokens. Fair enough. Winter Lind, nice to see you here. Whose Body by Dorothy L. Sayers. It's been a long time since I've read that one. That's a Lord Peter Wimsey Carolyn, I love the Hamish Macbeth series. The TV show was quite different, wasn't it, to the books? Julianne, to say nothing of the dog, Connie Willis, and the maid, Nita Prose, are my favorite this month so far. I am waiting for the maid to come from the library. I'm excited about that. Okay, let's do another reading sprint, and we will read until 10 after. How does that sound, everybody? So yeah, so let's do a reading sprint. Woohoo! Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good time reading. 20 minutes is a good amount of time to read, but when I'm reading Agatha Christie's for my read-through project, I'm always making notes and stuff. I have my little notebook, so I didn't read as much as I normally would in 20 minutes because I actually ended up writing a whole bunch of stuff down from, clues and stuff, thoughts that I have when I was reading that section. All right, so let's catch up on some of these comments. Donna says, enjoyed reading The Waiting Sands by Susan Howich with you, Janelle, a gothic romance mystery thriller. Yes, that one was fun. So that one was written in 1966, and calling it a gothic romance mystery thriller is perfect, Donna. Helen says, I need to catch up on Dorothy. Hadn't read one for years. Dorothy Sayers, I'm assuming. Sophia says, Murder Most Festive was my favorite read. It was funny. Yeah, I read that one last Christmas, like Christmas 2020, I think. And that one was really fun. Carolyn says, the TV show is so different and MC Beaton didn't like it, but I love Robert Carlyle, so I'm biased. So this is the Hamish Macbeth show. I didn't know that MC Beaton didn't like it. I'm not surprised because they did make it very, very different. Helen says, I'm going to order Hamish Macbeth book 2 soon. It definitely will carry on with the series. Yeah, they're quick reads and really fun. Oh, Elizabeth. They are so fun. Helen says, the over-the-top characters. Yeah, they are, really. Lizzie says, her phone was in her pocket. Sorry for the random typos. I wondered what was going on there, Elizabeth. That's hilarious. So yeah, Casey, I couldn't do a private chat. That's only for if you have guests on the show. But so that's my Instagram if you want to message me. Carolyn says, every one of the books I've read, if I guessed the right killer, then she had me second guessing because I couldn't think of a motive. Oh yeah, that's true. Helen, I didn't guess in Death of a Gossip. Let's be real, it could have been anyone. It was really fun. That's true, Helen. So Carolyn says, apparently I got 2 hours into this audio last year and stopped, and I wasn't sure why, but I think it is because it starts with the characters being in a Western, and I'm not a big Western fan. Oh yeah. So which one are you reading again from the Thursday Next series? Yeah, I understand that. Hearts and Whodunits, you got another chapter read. That's fantastic. Jackie, I finished The Wasp's Nest and am so entranced by The Theft of the Royal Ruby. I don't remember this one. The Theft of the Royal Ruby. Is that the one that takes place on the coast somewhere and there's some like younger people and a boy who is jealous of his girlfriend making friends with some richer people? Is that the one that I'm thinking of? Because if so, like that's a great one, The Theft of the Royal Ruby. Annie read 15%. That's fantastic. Helen, getting towards the end of my book. I am enjoying it so much. I don't want it to end. I have so many great books lined up, but I hate leaving the characters behind. I totally understand that, Helen. I do. I read it. You're going to see it coming up in my week 2 March Mystery Madness wrap up, but I finished Elizabeth George's Somewhere to Hide or Something to Hide. I thought it would take me much longer to read because it was a really long book. It was like, almost 700 pages, but I just got sucked into the story. It's one of the D.I. Lindley ones, set in London. And it was just such an interesting story. And I was just so concerned for some of the characters through the whole book. I was like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen to these characters. But I love that when you get so drawn into a story and so invested in the characters in that story. That's great. So romance got to chapter 5 in your book. That's great. Carolyn, MC Beaton said something along the lines of her Hamish Macbeth is a lanky, carefree Highlander, and the show gave her a short Glaswegian with a chip on his shoulder. That is true. And I love them both. But it's totally, she's right. Like in the books, Hamish is definitely lanky, carefree, and a Highlander. Like he just is so content with his life. He loves where he lives. Julianne, Destination Unknown is wild. Got to 21%. Never read this one before. Thought I'd read all of them. Ooh, it's always fun when you discover a new Agatha Christie that you haven't read before. Oh, Carolyn. Oh, right. Something Rotten. Yeah. Well, I hope you continue on, even though there's the Western bit of it, because yeah, Thursday Next is great. Annika says, I'm reading a story by Ambrose Pierce. Is anyone familiar with that author? Ambrose Bierce? Is it Ambrose Bierce or Pierce? I'm not familiar with that author. Carolyn, Theft of the Royal Ruby is the other Poirot Christmas story. Really? That's interesting. So I know there's the short story of The Adventure of the Christmas Pudding. I didn't realize that there was another one. That's very interesting. Annika says, I had that with a book by B.A. Paris, the only thriller I read in one go because I was so worried about the characters. Yeah. Jackie, so far it has young people and a man with a fake name that let a girlfriend wear the family's ruby and now it's gone. Oh, that's not the one that I was thinking of. Is that a who is there a detective in that one? Yeah. Oh, Julie, hi. Nice to see you here, Julie. It is Bierce. Yeah, I've never heard of that author, Annika. Obviously, Maria has, though. Carolyn, yeah, Adventure of the Christmas Pudding is the other name. Oh, it's the same story. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's very interesting. James says The Devil's Dictionary is hilarious by that author. Well, there you go, Annika. I've never heard of that author. I'll have to check it out. Helen, the only B.A. Paris I have read is Behind Closed Doors. I loved it. I can't remember if I've read anything by B.A. Paris. Maria says she's reading Dorothy L. Sayers' Solving the Mystery of Wickedness by Mitzi Brunsdale. Oh, so it's a book about Dorothy L. Sayers. That's very interesting. Jackie, yeah, Hercule Poirot. Okay. Excuse me. Yes. Julie, nice to see you. All right. So, what do you guys think if we do one more reading sprint at 25 after, and we'll do another 20 minutes. Thank you, Carolyn. It's been crazy allergies here the past few days. I don't know why. Jackie, ooh, I haven't read the book about Dorothy Sayers. It sounds interesting. It does. Readers Gotta Read. I read Something to Hide last month. I thought it was one of the best of her last few books. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, we had to wait so long because it's been 4 years since she's written a Linley, but yeah, this one was just phenomenal. It was so good and like hard to read at times, and her books often are, but yeah, it was really good. And nice to see some of the old characters back. We get oh, I just forgot her name, the photographer. What was her name? Oh my goodness. I'm blanking out. Anyway, so yeah, we'll do another reading sprint at 25 after and read for another 20 minutes. And then that might be the last of them, unless you guys really want to read some more. Carolyn says, I need to start Sayers' Lord Peter Wimsey. I have Whose Body. Yeah, Dorothy L. Sayers, she's a great golden age writer, but she's very different to like Agatha Christie and some of the other of the other golden age writers. You know, kind of as long as you go into it with a mindset of, you know, an open mindset of the style of writing she has and the type of mysteries that she reads, then they're very enjoyable. Poor Barbara and her love life. Yeah. And isn't it hilarious how much I'm blanking out again, but the other woman who works in their office, she's like an assistant, like a PA or something, and she's constantly trying to get Barbara involved in activities where she'll meet someone. It's so funny. Oh, good. Julie's getting into bed and she's going to read with us. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm now I'm gonna getting right into it. So we've got the investigator on the scene now. He's he's an amateur sleuth. His dad is the assistant commissioner of Scotland Yard, and he was involved in, I don't know, the security services or something, he said, for a bit during the war. So he has a little bit of experience, but mostly he's just there because he's in love with Sophia, who is part of the household. But he's now there, and we're getting some good inside information from the household to find out who poisoned the guy. Carolyn, in the show I was wanting Barbara and Lindley to get together, but that might be a minority opinion. Holy cow, Carolyn, really? Havers and Lindley, I don't know. They would kill each other. Oh, that's hilarious. Helen, I've got my hot chocolate ready. It's getting cold here now. Oh, good. Well, perfect. Hot chocolate. That is perfect. Mariah loved CRR. Carolyn, haven't read the books yet. You need to, Carolyn. The books are so good. The show was fantastic. I really loved the show, but the books are just amazing. Storm read Whose Body this month, and she liked it. Julianne's in bed already. That's great. Are you going to read with us for a while then, Julianne? And Donna says, books in-house from library I hope to get to in March. A Glimmer of a Clue, Fairy Garden Mystery #2 by Daryl Wood Gerber. Never heard of that one. And A Rogues Company, Sparks and Bainbridge #3 by Alison Montclair. I love that series. And A Rogues Company, that one was really interesting. Yeah, enjoy, Donna. Hello. Oh no, how late? You're not late at all. You're just in time. We're going to do another reading sprint here in a couple of minutes. So you're just in time. It's nice to have you here. Carolyn, they probably would have killed each other. You're right. They're so very different, which makes them a great pair of detectives, really. So we're talking about Elizabeth George, her D.I. Lindley series, because Lindley, he's a detective inspector with Scotland Yard, but he's also an earl, which is such a fascinating, it's just so fascinating. And then Havers is just so, like, she's from the lower middle class, and she's just so very proud of it, and just like has this huge chip on her shoulder about kind of aristocrats. And so like they are just the most hilarious pair of detectives. Mariah says, oops, Crowded House has a theme Christie explored several times. Ooh, yeah, okay, that's good. I'll keep my eye open for that. Donna says, also want to read in March Diablo Mesa by Nora Kelly #3 by Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child. Excellent. Hey, Jessica, that's from Julia. Ooh, and she's picking up The Pale Horse by Agatha Christie. Ooh, we've got a lot of us are reading Agatha Christie during this reading sprint, and it's perfect because this is the Weekend with Agatha readathon, so that's excellent. I'm hoping for Lindley and the office assistant Dorothea. That's awesome. Fave thing to do, reading in bed. Oh yeah, I love that too. Helen, I've never read an Elizabeth George. I must rectify that. Yeah, I think you would like them, Helen. They're not gritty, but they are, you get so emotionally invested that they can be difficult to read sometimes. Hearts and Whodunit says to Donna, A Glimmer of a Clue is a good read. Hope you like it. Pale Horse is my favorite of her standalones, but Crooked House is a close second. Ooh, that's interesting. Annika, I know, right? Weekend with Agatha Readathon. Yes. So this is being hosted by Chantal from Chantal Reads All Day and Angie Henderson, and they're actually doing a live on Angie's channel, Angie Henderson, tonight at 7:30 Central Standard Time. So I'm not sure what that time would be for you. It might be too late. But yeah, just today and tomorrow, it's just all about reading Agatha Christie, which is such a fun idea, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's do another 20-minute reading sprint if you are all ready for that. Okay, so let me make the banner. So we are going to read until I think that's right. Is that 20 minutes? I hope so. Let me know. I'm not so good at the maths. Oh, Kevy's here. Hi. Nice to see you. Just in time for a reading sprint. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great 20 minutes of reading. Kevi has joined us. I'm currently reading for my Stephen King read-along, then got to work on my Discworld read-along. Then I can resume March Mystery Madness reading. Yeah, there's a lot going on in the month of March. Helen says, favorite places to read in order: in bed, the corner of my sofa, outside, anywhere and everywhere. Helen, that's awesome. And I agree with you about all of those places to read. Donna says, I have a book on my 90s shelf called Miss Lizzie by Walter Satterthwaite, with Lizzie Borden as an older woman as sleuth. I found there was a second book, have it from the library, hope to get to both. That's interesting, Donna. Carolyn says, one of the best quotes of my book so far, so she's reading one of the Thursday Next by Jasper Fforde, is when Miss Tiggy Winkle says, you mean you want to be somewhere where hedgehogs don't talk and do laundry? I love Jasper Fforde. So good. Helen says, great quote, Carolyn. That sounds a bit random. Also, I am sad that the Jasper Fforde convention, the Ford Fiesta, oh, that's hilarious, is back in person this year instead of online, because it means I can't attend. It was really fun attending online last year, though. So they won't have an online option? That's too bad. They really should do both. All right. My mother-in-law says, Carolyn's reading ramblings. What book are you reading? I'm assuming it isn't Mrs. Tiggy Winkle. Is there another book with a hedgehog named Mrs. Tiggy Winkle who does laundry? Now you're thinking of the Beatrix Potter books, right? Yeah, she's reading the Thursday Next series by Jasper Fforde, which is awesome. Helen, wouldn't it be fantastic to go in and out of books? First stop, Manderley. Oh yeah. Okay, so this will be a fun game to play. So in the Thursday Next series, some of the characters are able to jump in and out of books. If that was something you could do, what would be the first book that you would jump into, and where? So yeah, so obviously Helen is jumping into Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Ooh, you're bold, Helen. That's fantastic. I would love to hear from you guys. What book would you jump into? Now, that's going to take a little bit of thought. That's so fascinating. I might like to jump into a Jane Austen. I might like to jump into... Oh, there's so much. Oh, I know. I would love to jump into The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. Oh, that would be so fun. Okay, Hearts and Whodunits, read about a chapter and a half. That's fantastic. Kevi, 5 pages left in Stephen King's The Mist. I've never read that. Carolyn's reading ramblings. Yes, it's great having her in the story. James, I've got to get going. It was good reading with everyone. Take care. Oh, thanks, James, for being here. It was nice. It was very nice to have you. Yeah, Carolyn, in the first book, she jumps into Jane Eyre, which is fantastic. Annika, definitely some old English country house. Yeah. Although maybe not the one in And Then There Were None. That would be dangerous. Julianne, I'm 20 at 27%. Ooh, and in Casablanca. Ooh, that's a good one. Carolyn, Harry Potter #7, and save a certain beloved character who dies. Don't want to say who because of spoilers. Good choice, Carolyn. Kevi, if I could jump into a book, it would be The Left-Right Game by Jack Anderson. Sure, it may be a horror world that intends to kill you at every turn, but gosh darn, I do love it. That's awesome. Helen, ooh, you would also go to St. Mary Mead. Oh, wouldn't that be awesome? I would love to go to St. Mary Mead. Jackie, I'm remembering the story now. I missed some of the details at the beginning the first time around. Okay, yeah. Julianne, I'd jump into Thornfield Hall with Jane and Rochester. That happens in the Thursday Next series, so sweet. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? All right, Helen, I would love to visit Santa Teresa too, if it existed. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And have some adventures with Kinsey Milhone. Yeah, that would be awesome. Wouldn't it be fantastic if we could actually jump in and out of books? Oh my goodness, that would be so great. Okay, so here's where I need some help from you guys. Do you want to do another 20-minute reading sprint, or should we call it a day on the hour? What do you guys think? I'm fine with either way. Annika, good travel plan. The Woman in White, then to St. Mary Mead. I'm in. No, not, and then there were none. I would like to come back. Yes, Annika, that's totally true. Yeah. Donna, I would jump into The Uninvited by Dorothy McCardle, the Cliff's End House, Windward House in the movie, located on the Devon coastline in Cornwall in the movie. Ooh, I haven't read that book, but that sounds nice. I do love me some Devon and Cornwall. Carolyn, I'm happy with whatever you choose. All right. Well, we'll hear from a few other people and then decide. This has been so fun. I've been loving reading my book so far. I'm 55 pages into it, and we're kind of talking to the people who live in the house. So it's very interesting because Aristide Leonides, I'm not going to say his name very well, is an older man. He's like 85, and then he's got a bunch of family that live in the house. So he's got a son and his wife and their 3 kids who live in a portion of the house, and it's kind of like their portion of the house. He lives in a different portion of the house, and his other son and his wife live in that portion of the house as well. He's got Aristide's sister-in-law also lives in the house. So it's a great combination of family members all living in this big house. And so discovering who might have a motive. But one thing that's so fascinating about this one is because, like, having a rich patriarch, is not a new theme. But in this one, he is very wealthy, but he's not miserly. He's been very free with his money. He is given to his family members when they need them. He is very, willing to do that. And when he rewrote his will after the war, he was totally above board about it. He let the family know that he was doing it, the lawyer was coming, and the lawyer told everybody what was in the will. So that's different from some of these other books where you've got this rich patriarch who is maybe like inviting everybody to the house to say, I'm going to change the will, and, kind of playing around with people. This guy doesn't seem to be like that. So it's very interesting because even though he's wealthy, it's making me wonder if money is not going to be the motive behind the killing. That's what I'm thinking at this point. All right, Carolyn, if anyone gets a letter to go to a mysterious island, don't go. 100%, especially if you're not entirely sure who it's from. Yeah, definitely. Annika's in for another sprint. Great. Oh, excellent. Donna is in. Romance Queen got to chapter 6 in your book. That's awesome. Kevy, I got to finish these 5 pages, so down for one more. Great. Julianne, I'm in. Great. You guys are awesome. Carolyn, I'm out of the Western and they're back in Swindon, so I'm happier. Okay, that's good. Helen, I would be happy to continue, but it's up to you. Marlena Joe, I'm good to read more. Excellent. Anna, I recently read The Uninvited and loved it. I couldn't believe our library had an original copy from the 40s. Oh, I didn't know it was from the 40s. Okay, so when this is over, I'm going to have to go back and read all of the comments again and write down. There's been some books that I've been really interested in, so I'm going to have to go down and write these books down. But I've never read The Uninvited, and I'm even more intrigued now that I know it's from the 40s. And that your library has an original copy from the 40s is awesome. Carolyn, I definitely recommend the movie after the book. Great cast. And if I remember right, it was quite a close adaptation. Okay, so that's good to know because sometimes with the adaptations, they really play around with it and change things, change characters. There's even been some where they've changed the killer, which, I mean, I guess is fair enough if they figure like everybody knows the story, let's change it. But I don't really like that. Like I prefer if they stay closer to. Now, Hugh Laurie has done an adaptation of Why Didn't They Ask Evans? And I'm waiting for it. It's supposed to be coming soon on BritBox. Has anybody seen that? Is it already out in the UK? Is that a good adaptation? I am really, really interested in that one because I love Why Didn't They Ask Evans? I think that's a really good Agatha Christie. Annie, I would jump into my last Gothic read, Greythorn. Ooh, I love a good Gothic story. Maria, you're onto something with CH. Julie, I shall read a bit more too, but sleep time for me soon. Fair enough. Jackie, I would read for one more too. All right, great. Well, how about then at the top of the hour, we'll read for 20 more minutes. Kevy, I saw that you did a video about the new adaptation of Death on the Nile. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I am very curious because I did see Kenneth Branagh's Murder on the Orient Express, and I love the way that Kenneth Branagh casts his movies. I've seen a lot of the Shakespeare that he's done, and I love the way that he casts. And Murder on the Orient Express was also very cinematic, but I have to say I was not a fan of how he played Poirot. So I'm really not entirely sure what I'm going to think about Death on the Nile. I'm definitely going to watch your video though and see what you had to say about it. Donna says Angela Lansbury's mother makes a cameo appearance in the 40s Uninvited movie. Really? Oh, that's interesting. Carolyn, the lady who adapts the more recent Christie stories, is hit or miss for me. I loved And Then There Were None and Cricket House, but some of her others I didn't love. Yeah. Kevy, they sure did change some of the characters. I love that instead of being a kleptomaniac, Mrs. Van Schuyler is a lesbian communist. Okay. So yeah, and I'm not surprised when they make certain changes to characters in adaptations, because let's be honest, a movie is a different medium to a book. And so you have to there are changes that just have to be made. But yeah, I don't really like it when they change the killer, but yeah, I am curious. Carolyn, so excited to read Why Didn't They Ask Evans and see the Hugh Laurie adaptation. Yeah, Why Didn't They Ask Evans is great. Annika, I really don't like when they make so many structural changes to Christie's. Yeah, I agree. The film was brilliantly cast and so cinematic. You're going to hate some of the Poirot's backstory has completely changed. Really? Kenneth Branagh. Oh dear. I haven't heard of the Hugh Laurie adaptation here in the UK. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. I'm getting it on BritBox, which is why I thought that it may have gone out earlier in the UK. I'm very curious. I read an article when I heard that Hugh Laurie was doing an adaptation. I read an article and he talked about how he loved Agatha Christie and his history with Agatha Christie. And so I am very curious to see what he does with it. I've seen a trailer and I like the cast. Well, the cast that I saw in the trailer anyway. Donna says one of the screenwriters for The Uninvited is Dodie Smith, who wrote I Captured the Castle and 101 Dalmatians. Oh, that's very interesting, Donna. Carolyn, Death on the Nile is coming to Hulu, so I will watch it, but I wish Arnie Hammer wasn't in it, and I agree about Branagh's Poirot, but the rest of the cast is why I want to see it. Yeah. Okay, let's do another reading sprint, and we will do until 20 after. All right, is everybody up for that? Does that sound good? So we will read until 20 after. All right. Enjoy your reading. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a good 20 minutes of reading. There we go. All right. So let's see. We were talking about the adaptation of Why Didn't They Ask Evans? And Julie says that it's streaming on April 14th. I'm very excited. Hearts and Whodunits. Have a great evening, everyone. Stay safe. Mariah, so long. Kevy finished The Mist. Even though it is part of a short story collection, The Mist is over 150 pages. That is not a short story. That is more like a novella. Yikes. Carolyn says, doesn't that even go over the novella page limit, or is it 200 pages? I'm never sure about those things, but that is definitely long for a short story, even a novella, I would have to say. So I came across a great quote in Crooked House by Agatha Christie that I'm reading. Don't worry, it's not spoilery or anything. They go into the library in the house. It was a big room full of books. The books did not confine themselves to the bookcases that reached up to the ceiling. They were on chairs and tables and even on the floor, and yet there was no sense of disarray about them. That is my kind of library. I love that. I love that of like books stacked everywhere. I think that's fantastic. Also, I had a question because you guys are so smart. One of the characters in here is described as having infantile paralysis. Is that polio? I seem to remember reading about that in another book. I can't remember what. And I don't know. I'm thinking that it's polio. But if you know what infantile paralysis would have been in 1949, I'd love to hear. Kevy, also, after I finished that, I remembered a silly horror story idea that I had a long time ago. So now I've started writing it. Oh, good for you. That's great. Great quote. My kind of home library. Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, Annika. Oh, good. Yeah, I wondered if it was paralysis, polio, since polio quite often did end up in some form of paralysis for the polio sufferer. I had a great uncle who had polio. He was in an iron lung for quite a long time. Yeah. Polio. Great. Okay, that's awesome. Well, I've had so much fun reading with you guys, and I got a good start on my Agatha Christie. I read 72 pages, so that's fantastic. And I am looking forward to the live show tonight for the Weekend with Agatha. So that's on Angie Henderson's channel. This is a 2-day readathon hosted by Chantal from Chantal Reads All Day and Angie Henderson. I'm fairly certain that that's her name. So I'm looking forward to that live show tonight where we will talk about Agatha Christie and what we've been reading. Chantal quite often will try to solve an Agatha Christie. She's got a few of those videos on her channel, which I love to watch those. Those are just popping up now all over BookTube where people try to solve an Agatha Christie. And I love watching those. Those are so much fun. My mother-in-law, thanks for letting me join in today. What a lovely way to spend the afternoon. Aw, she's biased, but that's okay. It is a lovely way to spend the afternoon. Carolyn, they might have changed what the disease was in the film because some modern viewers might have been confused. Oh yeah, I'm not sure that they would have said infantile paralysis. I'm sure if they said anything, they would have probably called it polio. Yeah. Oh, Michelle says it would have been polio. I just read a book where it was referred to as that also, and the person had polio. Okay, yeah, that's good. Carolyn says, thank you so much, Janelle. This has been great. Going to watch some Murdoch Mysteries after this. Ooh, I like Murdoch Mysteries. What season are you on, Carolyn? I prefer the earlier seasons of Murdoch Mysteries, but yeah, I love that show. Donna says, I had one of the first vaccinations and was paralyzed for 3 days. Painful. Ooh, Yes, I believe infantile paralysis is another term for polio when it affects children. Okay. Wow. Paralyzed for 3 days as a result of the vaccination. Donna. Whew. That is hardcore. Yeah. Yeah. My great uncle he was in an iron lung for 3 years with polio. It had to breathe for him. Yeah. Not great. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a very, very fun afternoon. I've loved reading and chatting with you guys. Annika says, thanks for hosting. This was another great reading sprint. Yeah. So I'm going to do this again next weekend, same time, Saturday afternoon. So if you can, come join me because this is so much fun. So thanks for being here. And those of you who are watching the replay, let us know in the comment section down below what your favorite read has been so far for March Mystery Madness. I would love to know. Carolyn says that she's watched up through season 10, but rewatching now so I can refresh before catching up to the new seasons. So she's on season 5 now. Yeah, that's Murdoch Mysteries. All right. Well, that is it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Julianne, thanks for the reading sprints. You are very welcome. And yeah, if you like Agatha Christie, get some good Agatha Christie reading in this weekend for the Weekend with Agatha, which I think is a great name also for the readathon. And I will see you guys again next weekend. Okay, bye. Oh, Helen, I have to say goodbye to you too. Okay, bye.